Okay, let's talk about simple interest, and then we also want to talk about compound interest. So uh, the scenario is that we take some money and we put it, for example, we put it in a bank, and the bank is going to pay us interest to keep it there. So let's suppose that they're going to pay us 5%, and usually that means 5% per year. So if we put in $1,000 and we get 5%, that's $50. So $1,000 times 0.05 is $50. So, and that's called the interest. So we say we're getting $50 interest. So to calculate the interest, which they're denoting with INT, we take what's called the present value, or the amount that we put in the bank is called the principal, or the present value, and we multiply it times the interest rate, which in this case was 5%, or 0.05. So we took the $1,000 and multiplied it times the 0.05, and that gives us the interest. So we can write it like this. The present value is $1,000. We call it the present value, or the principal. R is the interest rate. We can write it as 0.05 or 5%. It's the annual interest rate. And the annual interest, will denote by INT. And so the formula we just showed was INT equals PV times R. So they talk about the simple interest on an investment or a loan of PV dollars at an annual interest rate of R for a time of T years is PVR. That's what we just talked about before. And then if we extend it for more than 1 year, we have to multiply it times the number of years. So if we got, going back to here, if we got 5% for, say, for 5 years, so, oops, sorry. So that's T equals 5 years. Then this was, we said 1,000 times 0.05 was equal to 50, but that was just for 1 year. If we did it for 5 years, we'd get $50 for each year. So that would be $250, or 50 times 5. So the general formula is INT for more than 1 year is PV R times the number of years. T is the number of years. So here's another example of INT equals PVRT. Suppose we had $5,000 at 8%, and we did this for 4 years. It would be 5,000 times 0.08 times 4 years. And that would give us $1,600. They say the above formula is based on the annual interest, and we say that the interest period is 1 year. So if we're talking about 8% per year, then the period is per year, or 1 year. We could also talk about an interest given monthly or weekly, and then we'd need to adjust it to an annual rate in order to use this formula. For example, suppose we had a simple interest on a $100 investment, but it was 0.5% per month. So this is 0.5% per month for 7 months. We calculate the interest earned as interest earned at a rate of 12 times that 0.5%. So it would be 6% per year. So if it's 0.5% per month, we want to convert that to per year. It would be 12 times 0.5%, which would give us 6% per year. And they're saying doing it for 7 months means not a full year, but only 7/12 of a year. So we would have PV RT The R would be here, would be this calculation, which gave us 6%, which is written like this, 0.06. And the time would not even be 1 year. It would only be 7/12 of a year. And so the calculation would lead to $3.50 interest. They said you could also do this by using, instead of assuming that it's or working with an annual period, but we might want to just talk about an arbitrary time period. So there was nothing special about a year when we came up with the formula above. So we had PVRT, but the reason we had T was number of years was because the interest rate happened to be quoted as a yearly rate. So they said the letter R is usually understood to mean interest rate per year. So we'll leave R to mean interest rate per year. So we'll use I for more general interest rate per period. So we'll have the interest as the present value, the interest rate per period times the number of periods. Just like before, we had the interest rate per year times the number of years. Now we have interest rate per period times the number of periods. And they're also keeping T as the number of years, so N will be the number of periods. So instead of PVRT, we have PVIN. So for example, simple interest on $100, PV is 100, and we're getting 0.5% per month for 7 months, would be 100. 0.5% is this, times 7 gives us that. And here, 6-month loan, $5,000, interest rate at 1.5% per month, very high. So it's $5,000. 1.1% is 0.15, and 6 months is 6. That's $450. We could use the annual interest rate. In that case, we'd have to write R is 12 times the monthly rate, which is 0.18 or 18%, which is very, very high. T is 6 months is half a year. We could put that in and we get the same result here.